So before we begin with the session, I request all the students to please check their mics. You are supposed to keep yourselves on mute. A very warm good morning to everyone. My name is Ankita Yadav, member at Industry Institute in Interface Committee. Welcome you all for today's webinar on the topic of expectations of corporate from management graduates. And to guide us on this topic, I welcome our today's dignitary, Dr. Ravindra Utgikar, sir. Sir, as Vice President, Corporate Strategic Marketing at Praj Industries Ltd. Praj is India's leading industry biotechnological company providing end-to-end technological solutions. Sir has completed his PhD in management in addition to electronic and telecommunication engineering, both from Pune University. His research thesis revolve around renewable energy and strategy for entry and growth in international marketing. He has successfully completed a course on global accounting management, GAMPRO 2007, at Account Management Center at University of St. Gallen, Switzerland. He has actively participated in several senior management executive learning and development programs organized by renowned institutions such as CCL, USA, ISB India, etc. Sir has extensively traveled around the world formulating and implementing go-to-market and business strategies, building mutual rewarding strategic alliance with partners. Customer experience and new product development are among areas of his special interest. He has been keynote speaker at various platforms and industry forums worldwide. He has also worked in Singapore, UAE, and USA on deputation. With over 30 years of industry experience in product as well as product business, Sir has worked in the international and domestic markets. He has an established track record in sales, marketing, business development, and strategic domain with leading Indian corporates and MNCs. Sir is passionate about education. He has long-standing associations with several academic institutions in India and abroad. He has actively participated in numerous initiatives to further the case of industry in forums such as CII, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Pune Maharashtra Management Association, etc. Sir has also published several articles, papers, and case studies that have appeared in international and domestic journals. With this, I would like to end up my words and request Sir to begin with the session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this generous introduction. I would like to thank the director of IMDR, also Shruti ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to engage and interact with the students. It's been a pleasure to associate with DES and IMDR, and I look forward to this yet another opportunity to actually deepen our engagement and association, which should go from strength to strength. So if with your permission, ma'am, I would like to share the PowerPoint presentation that I have.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Kindly share.
So just give me a second. I need to go to open the tray. I see the desktop and one second, Windows, and here I have. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are good. Good to start?
Yes, sir. It would be great if you can share full screen. Otherwise, it is also fine.
It's full screen, right? From my side right now. It's on slideshow mode.
No, sir, it's not.
It is not on slideshow mode, sir.
Really? It's showing on a slideshow mode for me.
Sir, there may be a lag.
Yeah, maybe a slight lag, yeah. All right, shall we just go on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, super. So thank you once again for the opportunity to interact with the PGDM induction batch of 2021. The way I have structured my presentation is as follows. We are going to look at the outlook, economic, microeconomic outlook, and a business outlook. Being management students, I thought it would be great to touch up some concepts that we will look at, like customers, value chain, innovation, some key terminologies that are going to be very, very important at the management level. Then we are going to look at what are the different type of specializations available for the management program. How do we actually choose those specializations? And after choosing specialization, which career opportunity doors open up for us? That are we going to look at. Then we are also going to look at what are the attributes or qualities that companies look for while hiring candidates from management schools. Then some of the formulas that have worked in the past, we are going to talk about it, and I will end my presentation with recommendations. I'm given to understand that we have about an hour, so I will try to take logical breaks to take any questions. So to get started, we are in a unique environment today in terms of microeconomic environment. There is a skepticism about resurgence of second wave, and there are talks of about third wave. We don't know yet where are we heading. Numbers are on decline, but worldwide the scenario looks to be that of concern. We had several cases reported in America, in Florida, in a single day, and then we also had some resurgence in China. So the skepticism continues to be there. The whole economic recovery is very much a work in progress. We have seen that our economy has had nosedive to below zero, that is degrowth mode last year. So since then we have gradually opened up the economy, and it's climbing, it's crawling, but it is still not on a very steady wicket. Clearly we were all wrong-footed, and our public health system and infrastructure was found wanting, whether it is about ventilators or oxygen supplies or adequacy of hospitals, the vaccination infrastructure. So I think the priority is going to build up the whole infrastructure, oxygen plants, different type of ventilators, hospitals getting equipped, stronger supplies of vaccine, and so on. There are so many fiscal reforms that are undertaken in past few years that are like when you make a change, there is always some kind of transition pangs. So the business are still yet to come to terms with the mega fiscal reforms, be it GST, be it things like demonetization, be it things like yesterday we heard that retro tax has been abolished. So some of these things are something which businesses are still not 100% on the grip. That's natural, it happens, but that's where the question on life versus livelihood is on the center stage. Whether people should be deprived of their opportunity to earn bread because of the lockdown, how long should it continue? If you relax the lockdown, what happens to the pandemic, and the concerns over lives lost or hospitalization care is actually a big one. So every day the newspapers are full of conflict issues over life versus livelihood. We clearly have some tectonic geopolitical shifts by way of Brexit, by way of some conflicts in Middle East, by way of trade tensions between US and China, and some of the things to do with some tensions in South America. So all these geopolitical situations are still not known. There were big reports about the conflicts around Israel and the Arab nations. So some of these things are still, we are unclear what it means to us. The common issues for globe as a whole are continue to be terror and environment. Although environment is much bigger issue because the cost of climate change and global warming are not known, and we have recently seen floods in Maharashtra, floods in Konkan, also in China, Germany, and USA. So untimely rains, flooding, flash floods, cloud bursts, droughts, extreme colds, extreme hot. There was a time a couple of months back when North America experienced temperatures upward of 40 degrees, quite unknown. So some of these things continue to be a concern, and that affects the ecology and the overall economy as a whole. And as always, global versus local tug of war continues. We want foreign direct investments, yet you want the local businesses to survive. So some of these microeconomic balances are still not stabilized. Then if you come to business, we clearly are seeing that there is a fierce competition between multinational players because of the entry of multinational players and Me Too players. And when I say Me Too players, these are copycats or imitators. So multinational players come with big money pockets, big advertising budgets, and they tend to actually steal the limelight and try to brainwash the consumers through the big advertisement, social media campaigns. So the competition is hotting up. Product differentiations are dying. That means there is not much to choose between two products, and as a result product life cycles are shortening. Some of these concepts you may know, some of these concepts you will study in the times to come, but that's the reality of life. And if this sounds complicated, you can think about a mobile or a bike that we want to buy. The feature to feature comparison almost stands the same. The pricing is also very competitive, so there is not much to choose between the products. All the customers have internet access, most of them, and therefore do a lot of research and keep asking for more and more in less and less price. So that actually means that the customers are becoming more knowledgeable. And if they keep demanding more, you have to innovate and you have to develop newer products, which are very critical to success. And all these investments in innovation, new product development, fierce competition is putting great stress on the financial performance of the companies, which is in terms of sales and profits. And as a result, customers are finding that they have options, unlike in the past. So to ring fence customers, to help grow and also acquire new customers from competition has become a big challenge. Stringent environmental and statutory compliances, whether it is carbon emissions, whether it is sewage disposal, noise pollutions, and some of the practices that were earlier followed, which are not consistent with the sustainable development goals, is putting a great pressure and making things difficult for businesses because they call for fresh investments in this regard. We are seeing that the technology is disrupting all industries. You are seeing that technology players like Apple, Google, Microsoft are entering into automobile space. Companies like Amazon and are featuring into not just space but even aviation, but even the space structure. So technology is clearly disturbing the traditional canvas of the businesses. You can't do it all is a realization that is coming in. So partnerships are becoming very important. These partnerships could be in the back end, in supply chain side, or on the front end, that is customer collaboration side. So that's by and large the business outlook today.
Excuse me, sir.
Pause here to see if there are any questions, points unclear on the microeconomic or the business canvas.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure.
Shruti here. Sir, we are on the first slide.
So you guys are still on the first slide?
Yeah. So I guess
we looks like
one.
So there is a huge lag here, ma'am. So do you want me to send this presentation to you and you will be able to put it up?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, because I am already on the business outlook slide. But anyway, while I do that, I welcome any questions that anyone has.
Now, sir, we are at this business outlook.
Yeah, that's exactly where I just did a commentary. So
yeah, one by one you can move to this. If you would like to share your PPT, kindly share it. We can also share.
Yeah, so I will. So can you see it now?
Yes, sir. Now we can see.
Okay. So are there any questions so far on the business environment and microeconomic environment? Shall we move on in that case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm moving to the next slide, which is called VUCA environment. Can you see the slide?
Uh, there is a lag, it will come, sir.
Yeah. So the term that everybody needs to be familiar is VUCA. We are all living in a VUCA environment. I think the term was coined by Goldman Sachs, and VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And I have a slide that clearly says what drives volatility and what are the effects of volatility, and how do you, what kind of response is called for or demanded to deal with volatility. For example, change nature, dynamic, change rate, speed is something which makes things volatile. For example, oil prices. Suddenly they're up one day and we pay higher for the fuel. And suddenly they're down one day. You all know that the oil prices, crude oil prices had dropped below zero. And today they're hovering around 70. And this is all happening in a span of few months. So that's volatility. We are all seeing the petrol prices are volatile. They were inching towards 100. They're now inching towards 110. So the oil pricing is a great example of volatility. And what this means is it has business risks. Because the cost goes up, it creates flux, it creates instability because my products are not competitive. So I need to, as a respond by having vision about the long-term perspective, I need to ascertain what are the changes that are happening because of volatility in buying patterns, in buying priorities, in budgets, and accordingly, I need to take actions to manage my portfolio. This is about volatility, right? Are we on the same slide, ma'am?
We are on, sir, business outlook.
Oh, so I don't think this is
VUCA.
yeah. So I don't think this is working well. So let me.
Sir, there is a request, sir.
Huh?
Now it has come, sir. There is a
Now
lag.
we are on VUCA, sir. It takes
Yeah.
another 5 to 10 seconds to
Yeah, but
appear on the screen.
I was doing commentary for some time. Why it took that long, I do not know. So what I am doing right now is I am trying to make a PDF document, and probably
Okay.
that transition, if that is quicker, let me see.
Yeah.
But you guys can see the VUCA slide, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So in between, let me just see if I can open that PDF document. So keep looking at the slide, and then if there are any questions, please pose them. Yesterday when we did trial, ma'am, we did not have this issue. I wonder
Yes,
where
sir.
all this. Yeah.
There is some connectivity issue, I guess.
Yeah, but I am on a high-speed broadband, so I don't know why is this.
Sir, it takes little more time, but otherwise you are able to show your slide.
Okay, so what I have now PDF document open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for a minute, stop sharing.
Yes, please, sir. Yes.
Okay, so I will go back here and say share. Then I will say Windows, and then I will try to go on a PDF document. Can you see this now?
Yes, sir. This
Is
is
this
perfect.
fast?
Yeah.
This is
Yes,
perfect.
sir. Perfect.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's the PowerPoint which was a culprit. Actually, we have some issue with the team. So anyway, so I just explained volatility. Then comes uncertainty, right? So what is uncertainty? It is unpredictability, some surprises, outcomes that are not known, right? And what does uncertainty do? it paralyzes action because of there is too much of data, right? And what we need to do as a response, we need to have deeper understanding. We need to have a different perspective. For example, when the sales tax was abolished and suddenly we moved to GST, global sales tax, people were using the earlier tax regime and suddenly they had a new tax regime and they had to fill so many forms. There was a panic. There was every weekly filing, monthly filing. So there was a lot of uncertainty. And then people did not know what to do and how to do because there were too many people giving too many instructions, right? And then, you can say the same thing even about the vaccination thing that, too many instructions, too many treatments. It's not clear what is going. So as a result, we need to develop deeper understanding, develop wider perspective. So when you consulted experts, see how your peers, colleagues are doing, and then that's where the GST filing became easy. So that's uncertainty. Then there is complexity. The things are so complex. For example, a task that needs multifaceted approach. There are too many people taking the decisions. There are too many people who influence the decision. So you waste, what the effect is, you waste a lot of time chasing people who are not the right people. So there is a bit of a unproductivity creeping there. There are things that are getting duplicated. And then there is no clarity about the response we need to give is we need to obtain clarity, study it deeper. So complexity is very common. For example, the whole economic situation is very complex. Is it the crude oil that is challenged? Is it the exchange rate that is challenged? Is it the dumping duties that is a challenge? Is it a demand cycle that is a challenge, or is it excess supply that is a challenge? Is it unemployment that is undoing? Is it the climate change that is upsetting the crop patterns? Is it commodity prices? So it's very complex. The whole economy is very complex, and you need to monitor multiple factors. So complexity is the name of the game in today's times. Then we go to ambiguity. So ambiguity, what is ambiguity? Ideal versus actual, misinterpretation is ambiguity. And then there are some doubts, and then there is, as a result, there are some doubts and there are mistrusts, and there is some lapses in decision making becomes difficult. What is required is agility. So we need to quickly decide, we need to take innovative ways. And I can give you one example, how Brexit is impacting India is ambiguous. We do not know. We never had that situation in the past. So businesses that were doing business with Europe and businesses that were doing with businesses in the UK are also under doubt. How will they operate? Will they have the same preferential treatment if they're operating in UK registered in EU, or the other way around? Will they have more imports, more tariffs? What happens to the expansion plan funding? So there is a lot of ambiguity. So that ambiguity is something which we need to deal with. VUCA can be a research topic by itself, but I would like you to remember this term. You are going to come across this term very often, and you can research it a little bit of yourself to know deeper understanding of this term VUCA. If we keep moving to a concept of customer, so often we are asked a question, who is your customer? So in the management sense, we say everybody is my customer. There is a concept called internal customer and there is a concept called external customer. Customer is anyone who actually influences your decision, who actually enables your decision, who actually partners with you to make that decision, because end of the day, together we win. Typically, we are used to saying customer is the one who actually buys our products. That's a traditional definition. But what we have now is a customer who is actually able to influence the decision maker. So if we try to go and buy insurance policy, we do not know which insurance policy, health insurance policy is good for us or no. So we go to a broker and he guides us. Okay, what is your age? What are the risk factors? So what is the premium? How can you control the premium? What is your health situation? So our broker influences the decision making so that we actually place order on a particular insurance company. So before we become customer of an insurance company, or we there is someone who influences decision making. So that way you see the blue circles are actually the final customer, which is written in blue. And there are all these orange circles, R&D labs, policymakers, forum associations, consultants, media actually influences our decision making. So they are enablers. And there are people who actually help us take decisions, who are our partners, our friends, our colleagues, our bankers, our subcontractors, vendors, who help make the decision come true. So the umbrella of customer is much bigger and wider. It encompasses all stakeholders. And in the company sense, the research and development department services engineering department. So for engineering, research and development is a customer. For production, engineering people provide the drawings, designs. So they are their internal customers. Procurement department actually buys for the production people. Production people give the goods to supply chain people. Supply chain people give eventually transport it to a customer. So there is a value chain concept which we are going to come to. But there is this concept of internal customer. So everybody starts treating even within company to each other as customers. That's how the concept of customer is very, very important, and it is very vital for success. We go to the next slide. The next concept we are talking, and which is important for you guys, is you have to start thinking that what are different industrial sectors that I could be working in? What are the things in that sector that appeal to me? And they could be in commodity, infrastructure, automobile, healthcare, education, environment, retailing, logistics, sports management, media, banking, financial services, institutions, information, communication, entertainment. So there are so many sectors. So as management students, we should start diving deep into some of the sectors that we like, we can relate based on our background, based on our education, based on our preferences. So this concept of industry sector is very, very important, because tomorrow you will graduate and come to a time of campus hiring. Then you will ask yourself that where will I find passion for working? Where will I find interest in working for many years? What are the things that appeal to me? And based on that, you need to create knowledge repository so that your entry and growth into that sector becomes very, very easy. So there is this concept of industry sector. At the next slide, I'm introducing this important concept of value chain. So any organization makes from concept to commissioning and care for life. They actually develop some organizations develop the entire value chain, series of activities to develop a competitive advantage is the value chain. And the business model, which is the second side of the coin, is how do you create and deliver value for your organization and for your customers. So there is this concept of business model that is also something which you are going to hear a lot often. And if we go to the next slide, this value chain concept is broken between sales, projects, and operations and maintenance. Often it is called as pre-sales, sales, and post-sales also. So basically, and each of these is further broken down into series of activities. Now, this is a very complex thing and unique to every industry. Some industries are very good in operation maintenance services or after sales. So they operate in that space. Some companies are extremely good in project development, project construction, project management, project installation. They operate in that space. Some companies are very good in sales, branding, marketing. So you may have known that many of the leading world's brands in apparel do not have anything in procurement, manufacturing. They simply manage brand and brand perceptions and do styling and designing. And they get that work done from wherever they find competitive costing or pricing. So in the value chain, every organization tries to find out where is their value and they operate in that space. So this concept of value chain is very important. And depending on where you find value, you devise a business model to operate in that value. For example, Swiggy or Zomato have value only on delivering the goods, services, food, and whatever. They do not go in making the product. So they find value in service. There are some restaurants which only cloud kitchen, they only cook. They do not quite sell, they do not quite deliver, they could not quite host customers. So they find value in cooking. And like I gave you apparel company example, they purely manage brands. So this concept of value chain is also very important for all of us to understand. And then I want to bring the last piece in value chain, and that piece is called value creation. So on the x-axis, you have customer criticality value. So as you go more towards right, the criticality value goes high and high and high. So for example, when I was a student, the value that I had most critically been valuing is what average will my automobile give. So to me, that was most critical value. Maybe when I came at better stages and had some money on me, my value shifted to some better brand and then comfort and then to luxury. So there is this concept of customer criticality value. I hope you follow me. And then on the y-axis, company has its strengths. So the strength could be in, like I mentioned, in production, in procurement, in engineering, in drawing, design, and in sales or in after service. So if you map this, then you should be operating in what we call as a sweet spot. The values that customer appreciate the most and the strength that your company has in maximum. That is a sweet spot. So those customers which value brand, styling, precision, Rolex will operate in that space. You know, let's say Rolls-Royce will operate in that space, right? They will not operate, for example, in Titan Timex space is one example. So whatever customers value and you have got strengths, you should operate, that's a sweet spot. And there is a circle that says customer wants it, you can do it, your competitor cannot do it. So that's a sweet spot. But remember that niche is not perpetual. That will keep moving because there will be Me Too people coming. So your job is to innovate. That we will come to on the next slide. The next best thing is the value, that the strengths that your company has but customer don't know or doesn't value. So that's where you have to operate in a hidden value, which is like an iceberg that many of us did not know that, for example, some companies do this also, that also. So the way Apple started building value is having an Apple store by building a music unique to them and then creating product around that. So there is a value that your customers may not know. So it's your job to actually unleash the value and show them the iceberg in totality, not only the tip that the customer sees. So that's a hidden value you need to unleash. Clearly, customer doesn't value something and you don't have something, you don't even have to operate in that space. It's inactive space. Get out from there. Then there is another quadrant where customer has a particular value, but you don't have it. Don't be there, right? For example, we haven't seen Maruti cars operate in a super luxury premium space. That's a value buster for them. They always thrive on value for money, service, resale value. So to operate in super luxury space is a value buster for them. And you can take any other example and try to think where are the companies operating. So the company should constantly look for a niche market. Okay, I'm going to pause a little bit here and we are going to a little bit reflect on some of the things that you saw. Value creation, value chain, business model, and what we discussed just now. Are there any questions, please? Are we doing all right? So far, so good?
Yes, sir. Sir, we'll take questions at the end, sir.
Okay,
They are,
fair enough.
they are thoroughly engaged in the session. It's quite interesting, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that's the case. Okay, I will step up because I think we are running out of time. Just third in the presentation and half the time is gone. Then when we come to a concept of innovation, right? So the way to read this is there is a x-axis on business model and processes, and that goes from existing to new. And then there is a y-axis that actually has products and services, and it also says from near existing to new, right? So that also goes from bottom to high on the newer side, right? And then there are 4 quadrants. So when you are operating in existing business model and existing processes with existing products, it is only the incremental innovation that comes into the play, which is indicated by the dark gray square. As you move, and you can take example that you are selling, you have a tea stall and you start selling biscuits, right? Is just an incremental innovation. Now we will stay with that tea stall analogy. When you have new business model and processes but existing products, so then you say that okay, I will have the delivery boys and I will start supplying my tea to everybody in this commercial complex, to everybody in the shopping mall. I will sell biscuits along with it, and then I will try to give a morning evening service, odd hour service. So that is a business model and process innovation. But if the tea stall vendor says that instead of doing new business model and processes, I will do new products, then probably he will go from a tea stall to a breakfast. And then he will start giving some poha, upma and whatever, idli and whatever. So he is moving up the thing. So that's also a little bit saying incremental innovation. When he moves from new business model processes to new product services, new, then that's a game changer or disruptive, which means if he decides to do franchisee model, if he decides to do different parts of the city, different parts of the state, if he goes from an Indian kitchen to a foreign kitchen, if he indulges into perishable products, so those are game-changing and disruptive things that can bring huge rewards as well as huge risks. So that's where this innovation band you can see from incremental to breakthrough to disruptive. Internal combustion engine was a game changer disruption. Internet was a game changer disruption. Smartphone was a game changer disruption. But these search engine was a game changer disruption. But these disruptive new things come only once in a while. Otherwise, there is incremental. For example, the car became autonomous car, but the IC engine stayed, the 4 wheels stayed, the cars became electric cars, but the concept of transportation stayed, things like that. So you have to know the concept of innovation, the risks involved. Pragmatic innovation is something you can sustain, which is dark gray. Transformational innovation is little bit light shade gray, which is where most of the business operate in. And disruptive innovation, game-changing innovation is not for weak-hearted because the risks are very high. And if that fails, you have to close down your shop. So that's the concept of innovation. Then what are those industry disruptor technologies? And I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but these come in the form of robotics, Internet of Things, mobile, advanced material, 3D printing, renewable energy, energy storage. Some of these tech disruptions, which once were thought as game changers, are not actually a matter of choice anymore. They are penetrating deeper into every industry segment. Every industry is now operating on electronic wallet or on internet platform. Nobody thought they would do like that. So this is how the technology can disrupt. So you as managers need to have appreciation of what are the technologies and how they can disrupt our operations. This is technology disruptors. Then now coming very, very close to topics to your heart, when you join an organization, the typical organization structure looks like this. There is a board of director to which CEO reports, and there is chief financial officer, chief human resource officer, chief operations officer, chief quality officer, chief technology officer, chief sales officer, chief marketing officer, and chief information technology officer. And then there are functions beneath that. Here you see the blue shading, which is telling that these are customer facing or front end roles, responsibilities. And then the light gray shading or light turquoise shading actually says these are back end or delivery roles. So you have to find, depending on what your interests are, what your personality is, you will have to either choose in front end roles or back end roles, and you will find in typical structure, you will find your role in one of the departments. Not, of course, this is very generic and typical. Many organizations will have variants of this, right? Some organizations may have sales and marketing together. Some organizations may have finance and, for example, human resources together, things like that. So you will have to appreciate what is going on here. Learning and development is L&D, SCM is supply chain management, QA is quality assurance, QC is quality control, NPD is new product development, research and development everybody understands. Chief marketing officer has business intelligence, market intelligence as a function. And IT is information technology, hardware, software, and so on. So that's the typical organization structure. So now the key terminologies, and I would like you to take a screenshot if you want. These are the terminologies that you will have to bring in your vocabulary. Sales, value proposition, differentiator, market size, emotional quotient, addressable market, benchmarking, unique sales proposition, brand, share, and so on. And this is little bit of a glossary of a MBA or a business manager. This is the language you will have to talk as often as possible starting today to be able to make an impact during your project and during your interviews. Of course, you got to figure out meaning of each of these in detail, otherwise you will be found very wanting. But I wanted you to understand these terminologies very well. And these are just few important ones. There are many more beyond these also. So that brings me to how do you choose specialization? And before I actually dive deep into this, I again want to pause and see if there are any quick questions, because otherwise ma'am had said we'll do it in the end. Shall we go on?
Yes, yes.
Okay. How do you choose your specialization? So you got to develop a vision. How do you develop a vision is a question. So to develop a vision, you have to be analytical. You need to be thinking. And there is this nice story, right? That there are three masons who are working at a construction site, and they are just lifting one brick and trying to put that brick and place that brick properly. So a man goes by and asks the first mason, what are you doing? He says, can't you see I'm taking one brick from here and putting it there? The another mason, he asks, he says, can't you see I'm building a wall? And the third mason says, I'm building the world's best castle, church, temple, office, institution. So whatever you are trying to do, you have to have a big picture of that activity. Where is it going to lead you? So that's developing a vision. That doesn't come overnight. But everything that you do, you have to ask your question that, okay, this is what I'm doing. In other words, this is the road I'm taking. Where will it take me? What is the destination? So that is how you will develop a vision. So ask yourself on every activity you undertake, do I have a vision? Do I like this vision? Right? Then you have to have aptitude. If I am a numbers man and if I am told to do people presentations all the time, I'm not going to enjoy. So I must know what is my aptitude. Am I good with people? Am I good with numbers? Am I good with team? Am I good as leader? Am I operating in the night? Do I like a manufacturing setup? Do I like coding? Do I like analytics? So what is your aptitude? And there are some psychometric tests available to give you that aptitude. You have traveled 20 years in your life journey. So there is some footprints you have left. And that speak for your track record, whether it is academic track record, sporting track record, cultural, society, your activities, your friends, family, well-wishers will tell you what are you good at, where have you been repeatedly excelling, and where have you been repeatedly not faring as good. So that actually tells you volumes. Then what are the industry trends? We open newspaper and read that where is e-commerce going, where is automated cars heading, what about electric vehicles, what are the new things in coming in the form of Internet of Things, what is Industry 4.0, how is the consumer business shaping up, what is the hospitality industry doing amid pandemic, what is that? So things like that. So you got to read and follow the industry trends that excites you. And obviously you consult your seniors, your family members, your teachers, your mentors, your industry experts. Go and ask, but don't go and ask questions which are dumb questions. Go with a problem statement and go with solutions as you think them. Then they'll be more than happy to help. That is how you choose specialization. And this is important because if we take a road towards southern part, it is going to take me to Satara, Mahabaleshwar, Goa, and like that. In the south part, if I take a road going towards Bombay, it is going to take me towards north. So we have to be very mindful of which specialization we are choosing, because that's a route that is defining our career. And then obviously there are these 4 specializations to choose from. And if you choose HR as a specialization, you will end up doing role as hiring manager, recruitment, staffing. What is the present strength? What should be future strength? What is how many people I need to hire? Where I need to hire them from? What level I need to hire? What skill set they must possess, and so on. Then next you would be deciding their compensation and benefits. How much they should be paid, fixed pay, variable pay, stock options, incentives, retention bonus, joining bonus, and so on and so forth. What are their learning and development needs, skilling, reskilling, building new skills, and so on. That's something that we'll have to do. Then their personal and welfare, medical insurance, travel insurance, then new education allowance, some kind of facilities by way of leave travel assistance, uniforms, and so on. And then those operating in the industrial space will have to deal with unions and workers, and for them this is industrial relations. So if you choose to HR as a domain to go in, then this is the job description, which is your destination. You try to build up, And this slide I'm going to spend time on, and I have these slides repeatedly for each specialization. You must know which company is wanting to hire you, what skill sets this company expects, subject matter expertise, soft skills, behavioral skills, hard skills. What is the position for which they are inviting applications? Where are they hiring people? Who I will be functionally reporting? Who I will be administratively reporting? So for example, if you are HR manager for Western region for a company headquartered in Seattle, the head of HR sits in Seattle. So you will functionally report to that person in Seattle. But there is a head of that region in Western region, you will administratively report to that branch manager, right? That office manager. So, or that territory head. So that's functional and administrative reporting. Whether you will have direct reports, the people who will report to you directly, or indirect reports, the people who are junior to you but in the same function sitting in other departments, who will be helping you in your role. What kind of experience, years, industry background or functional experience I need to possess. And this job description is not for entry level, but it's throughout. It is very important to have this concept of job description, because that's exactly what you are expected to do in that organization. So you need to develop your thinking on these lines. What formal and executive education is required? That I am doing MBA, but they will also value my experience of German B2, B1 level. So that's business education, right? What are the performance matrices on which I will be measured? Did I increase sale? Did I acquire new customer? Did I retain old customers? Did I salvage the lost order? Did I introduce new products? What are the matrices tangible on which my performance will get measured? What are my key result areas? Managing team, managing documentation, developing product, installing the equipment, servicing the equipment, fault finding. What are the responsibilities entrusted to me? What are the internal and external relationships in my job? Who all do I have to work with within organization, which is internal, and external, which is stakeholders, vendors, partners, so on. What is the authority or empowerment I have from my organization for hiring people, for making decisions, for spending money, for traveling? So what is the authority I will be empowered? And if I do well, what is the next career progression I will get, and the next and the next? So this concept of job description is extremely important. This is a comprehensive job description. Not every job description will be exactly like this, but it will have by and large some of it or all of it. But the point to you is, while seeking a job, you need to ask these questions if not already explained to you, because that gives you a complete clarity about the role that you will be doing in that organization. So remember this job description template very well. So if we go to the finance and specialization, I could be keeping expenses, accounting, bookkeeping. I could be auditing, finance management. I could be checking whether people have done expenditure within their budgets properly, not properly. Is there a governance issue? Then I could be talking about capital finance, debt, equity, raising, structuring, restructuring. Constantly, if the cost of capital is going down, then I will look for lower interest related debt. If there is an opportunity available, then to raise equity, shall I come up with IPO or follow-up offering? Then I will do compliance and reporting, FERA, FEMA, income tax filing, GST filing, and so on. Then there is investor relations, people who invest in our organization, bankers, vendors, financial institutions, mutual fund players, high net worth individuals. I will maintain relationship with them. I will comfort them that how their money is used, what returns it is giving me. And as a finance professional, I will do scenarios planning for mergers and acquisitions. which company to acquire, which company to sell off, why merge, why not merge, what their balance sheet is, what is our balance sheet, how it will look together, standalone, and so on. So that's a finance function. Job description template remains same. The next one is marketing. Will I be on field doing sales, promotions? Will I will I go back in the head office and make a strategy formulation, implementation? Sales is hunting, which is going and hunting and getting the order in the bag. And strategy and marketing is farming, where to go to hunt, which is the most likely place where you are required to find the hunt. So strategy formulation and implementation is something else. Sales is something else. Communications, do I need to use digital marketing, internet platform, social media platform to keep my product, services, goods contemporary in the eyes of my stakeholders? Then will I be involved in bids, tender making, estimation, costing? There is a big business, big effort required there. You need to have thorough understanding of it. Will I be involved in market research, business intelligence, business research to facilitate decision making? What are the new policies? What do they mean for us? What is competition doing? How we can beat them? What are the newer markets opening? How we can enter the market? That is something which you can do. And then there is a documentation, customer testimonials, completion cases, success stories, case studies, bid making, proposals, pitch presentations, technical presentation, sales presentation. That's opportunities in marketing. And this is a typical job description that we spoke of. And then there is operation. So these people actually make things happen. How much production should I plan? How should I procure? How should I control the quality? How should I ensure good coordination with the engineering, design, procurement, quality, supply chain? How will I develop newer vendors? Who will I use for logistics, seaways, airways, road transportation ways? What are the standard operating procedures, policies, compliances, and I need to put in place ISO, environment complementation, ISO quality standards, environmental 14,000, ISO 14,000 for environment. There is something called ESG, environmental, social, and governance compliance. That is something which I may be involved. Quality inspection, quality control, quality assurance. That means ensuring that what goes out is actually best in class product. And obviously conversion from the raw material to a finished product. That is all done by operations people. They are the backbone of any industry. Then what do you need to succeed? So you need to have great attitude. Everything is impossible till you start doing it. So you must have open mind that I haven't done it, but I will do it. So can do attitude is the most important thing that we must possess. That is something which is going to help us get our job, to get us to our destination. So you need a great attitude is something which we must underline. Then the next thing comes is teamwork. Teamwork makes dream work. Do I work good in team? Do I do the work that is assigned to me really well, even if it is sometimes beyond my potential or below my potential? But are you a good team player? You must have good examples of being a team player in your project work, in your cultural activities, in your school activities, wherever. Right? So together everyone achieves more is a team. So teamwork is a great formula to succeed. Next thing is obviously hard work. I read somewhere very nicely that failure is integral part of success, and failure is the way nature operates. Just imagine how many seeds farmers must be sowing and to what extent he gets the crop. How many mangoes are there on a mango tree when the actually blooms up first, and how many we get in the end. There is so much in loss, right? How many eggs maybe the fish is laying and how many actually end up giving birth to new fish? How many get spoiled or eaten up? So failure is a part of the process. And what we see is only success, but all these dejections, failure, sacrifices, hard work is all part of it. We have to keep it below the surface, and we have to internally toil hard to come to it. With then only people will see our success. So that's how you need to put in a lot of hard work. But you need to put a lot of hard work with smart work, which means you need to harness newer, better ways of doing things. You should be open-minded. This is worked in the past doesn't mean you keep at it. You also try to see, is there any better way to do it? And only then you are going to be able to success in your assignment. So that smart work and hard work is a winning combination. And obviously communication is the key, that what you are telling, what customer has understood, is it in the same spirit, in the same context? Because you will definitely work in a global environment where there will be language barriers, where there will be cultural barriers. So you must master communications. Otherwise, this is what happens. What customer asks for and what he gets are very different, and that spoils your chances. This happens in businesses, in offices, in home, in teams, on ground, all the time. Communication gaps. So you must develop fantastic communication skills so that what you mean and what they understood is exactly the same thing. So communication is very, very important. Be it verbal, be it paper, be it audio, visual, whichever way, right? So what corporates look for? Corporates look for subject matter expertise and talent. You must know your subject really well. You may not have experience, fine, but you must have the concept clarity very well. Then, like I explained about teamwork, then you must have leadership. Yeah, your hand should be one of the first one to go up when some task is assigned. And with the attitude that, yeah, fine, I may not have done it, but I think I can do it. I will find a way to do it. And then finally, entrepreneurship. So anything and everything that you do as if your life and death depends on it. It's your money, it's your company. So entrepreneurship is like people who actually do it, win or lose formula, sink or sink formula. So do you show that entrepreneurship skill? You don't go there as just a professional employee, 9 to 5 job, I don't care. So are you entrepreneurially? Entrepreneur qualities, we all know that they go extra mile, they take not undue but calculated risk. They always look for opportunities. They use money every sparingly and so on. So these are the attributes that corporate will look for. And then, some of the personal attributes you must possess is you must have great character. You must have courage to move forward. Communication we spoke. You must have conviction on your own education, your knowledge, your reading. The application part, experience part will come, and that's where the thought clarity is very important. So whatever you may be, you must be very competent at that level, because success is viewed at different levels. So that's how we need to actually have personal attributes. And then some of the recommendations I give to you guys is you must have a long-term vision that you must cultivate over a period of time. What you want to be, where you want to go, how is it to be there, what are the demands on time, on family, on health, on other hobbies. You must develop global perspective. Whatever you may do will have a global implications, whether the technology coming from outside, raw material coming from outside, products coming from outside, collaborators, so on and so forth. And then to be able to visit field and do some assignments which are live assignments will give you great confidence, because you will be able to relate things that you are teaching, learning in school with what's going on in the industry. So take real life projects. They may not be great projects, but they are real life projects which involve real customers, real teamwork, profit and loss, and so on. Because the world is going to be global, foreign language and cultural sensitization is very, very important. Culture is what you do, why, how we dress, what we eat, why we exist, different objectives, and there could be so much differences in cultures. In India alone, we have good cultural diversity. In worldwide, it could be even more phenomenal, right? So you must appreciate the differences in culture and respect the differences, right? Appreciate the commonalities and strengths and respect the differences. right? Set aside them and work. And finally, you must read Economic Times, Financial Times, Business Standard, some high-end periodicals like Economist, and good books and good, podcasts and YouTubes like Simon Sinek and Jack Welch, which will give you a contemporary age. With all these recommendations, I have come to an end. I know I have exceeded time, for which I apologize, but I hope this session was interesting enough for you guys. And I'm very keen to answer any queries or respond or understand from you or even have your feedback for that matter. Thank you once again for your time and attention. I really appreciate your patient listening and opportunity to engage with you today. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful session. Now I request all the participants to please raise their hands and ask their questions.
Are there any questions?
Yes, sir, there is a question. Ankit, I request you to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Hello, good morning, sir. I wanted to ask one thing. So, there is a trend which is happening.
Yes, Ankit. Please unmute yourself and ask question.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there is a rising trend of less working hours in the global industry. So, is it a threat or an opportunity for fresher students who are like uh, entering the market? So, like, what do you feel like?
So look, I mean, it's good that you are making this observation that there is trend for lower working hours globally. But we have to have local perspective, global and local. In India today, you are in an extremely fierce competitive environment, right? There are only 24 hours in a day that everybody gets. So if you choose to work for lower hours because of global trend and someone chooses to work harder, longer hours at the beginning of your career, naturally he is able to deliver more. So he will move forward. So I will urge that while it's good to be cognizant of what global trends and practices are, we must put our everything in the job to maximize, like a sponge, absorb as much as you can, deliver as much as you can. Finally, the one who goes ahead is the one who is able to work hard and able to work smart. Hard work is long hours, smart work is what is required. So I would not want you to get distracted by what global trends are. Maybe that those trends are there. Maybe that environment is not that competitive. We have competitive environment. We have 10 people breathing down your neck for that job. So you cannot say that, okay, global trends are 5 hours a day, so I will work 5 hours a day. But the industry expectations are you will put extra hours. So they will obviously choose someone who is willing to do you over, choose someone else over you who is willing to do more hours. So at entry level, you don't bother about these things. You do as much as you can, because the more you can do today, the more benefit it's going to give you tomorrow.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for your inputs.
Good. Yes, Yash.
Yash, please unmute yourself.
Yes, yeah, Yash Lunkad, yes, this side. So I know Prague industry is in South Africa as well, and it's in fuel industry mostly, fossil fuel. So my question was there is international market. The as we learn the micro and macro, so the environment is also important. So, have you faced any difficulty in recent months in the South Africa region? Like in middle, there was a very bad situation in South Africa. So, does it affect your company, I mean, like your industry, as the environment there is too tough for now? And
Yeah.
second question is about Middle East. Like, as we know that in Middle East there is a very big problem these days. So, this does affect your industry, your fossil fuel industry.
So thank you, Yash, for the questions. I will not answer for Praj because this is not a forum where I'm talking for company or defending company. But let me just say this, that any company operating in an international market space have to be mindful of global dynamics, global economic trends, global challenges, local conditions in that market, local rules, regulations, trade tariffs, policies that we need to comply with, right? The economy of each nation is undergoing a different kind of challenge, and different context applies in different markets. So be it South Africa and be it Middle East, every market is undergoing some difficult times because basically because of the demand slump that is a fallback of the global lockdown, and the demand cycle hasn't kicked in to the extent where we are all back to pre-COVID levels. So the challenges, not just for Praj, but all companies exist today. How they stay resilient, how they innovate, how they collaborate with partners, how they rejig their strategies, how they redefine their offerings, how they comply and negotiate the situations, decides actually how they will succeed. Indeed, there is a unrest in Middle East right now, but wherever there is crisis, there is opportunity. So maybe the unrest itself is opportunity for some companies. It's, this is like a business, right? So the share market, the way it operates, is somebody has lost trust, that's why he sells shares, and somebody who buys shares is someone who has more trust in that, or somebody who feels there is no more upside sells, somebody who feels there is upside buys. So you need both, right? So that is the case everywhere. Because there are risks, there are people going to do business. Because there are risks, people are not going to do business. So because there are no risks, people are not going. So because there are risks, people are going, have more opportunity to take risk and make more money. So it really is your risk appetite, individual companies' risk appetite, its own strategies, its own understanding and resilience that really matters. Does that answer your question, Yash?
Yes, sir. My question was the same, like how industries overcome this fear in international trade.
But I hope you got the answers, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Yes, Gayatri, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Hi,
So,
Gayatri.
as you discussed about specialization, we at IMDR we are having dual specialization. So, what do you think about finance as major specialization and HR as minor specialization?
Yeah. So you want me to respond to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. See, it's always nice, isn't it? You keep two horses in the run. Just make sure that you are clear in your mind where your heart lies. And there is a plan A and plan B. It's always good to have plan A and plan B. So whenever you are in dilemma, you choose what is that I need to do first, what is that I like more, and that is where your decision making skills will come. So if there is a finance and HR specialization and your heart really says finance, try it out. If that doesn't work, keep the HR specialization knowledge warm so that you can come back to plan B. Don't shut it down. So that's a great thing IMDR is doing in dual specialization. Or the other way around, you take HR as a thing. And if you think it's not working, you keep the finance warm and see how it goes. So that is where choosing a sector, choosing a specialized. So you are actually doing a functional expertise, which is in the by way of finance, HR, marketing, and operations, and you are doing one sector expertise that you cannot say that I'll work anywhere and everywhere, and see where they converge. So if I was in your place, I would say that I like to do in finance, and then amongst the sector I like banking, financial, insurance services more as a sector, or for that matter corporate finance in IT companies more. So I will choose a sector, I will choose a specialization, and let's see where they dissect. That's the way to do it, Gayatri. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Ruta, please
Yes,
unmute
Ruta.
yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, sir. First of all, I would like to thank you. It was a wonderful session and very informative. My question is that with regards to the specialization, what are the steps we can take to enhance our profile as there is a lot of competition in the market today? I would like to ask that what other maybe attributes do we have for, let's say, maybe HR or maybe finance? So are there any certifications or anything?
Superb, Ruda. That's a great question, right? I mean, everybody will graduate as MBA Finance from IMDR. Then how is Ruta different from another MBA Finance person? So you take on yourself. Should I to take any courses on taxation? Should I learn little bit about corporate laws? Should I work little bit about foreign exchange listing? Should I work harder on mergers and acquisitions? What are, and these days MOOC or Khan Academy, MOOC or Khan Academy course opportunities are available for you to study anything and everything allied to your field. And each one of us is unique. So if you find any of these allied programs helpful, and if let's take finance, I just give you 4 or 5 examples. If you take HR, then probably you try to undertake, okay, how do I develop let's say analytical skills, psychometry analysis skills? What are these are not exactly part of syllabus, but they are definitely coming into the play. So for developing a deeper understanding, you go back to the slide that I presented, that consult industry expert, consult trends. So if you model someone in HR, if you want to follow someone in HR who has already been there, done that, ask him or her, what are the extra skills in HR that I must possess? For example, if I choose in HR learning and development as my growth area, then should I technically study training need identification as a skill? Should I study behavioral aspects of training as my specialization? Should I know what are the soft skills and how they are acquired? So try to engage more with the professionals and experts you have known in that domain from your network, or consult your teachers. That's the first touch point, and ask them that, I'm ma'am Shruti ma'am, I'm liking HR and I would like to pursue HR. So just to give me a competitive edge, what should I do? So she may tell you, right? That's a great point. So figure out ways and means for employee contracts. How are the expatriate contracts done in HR? Find out ways and means to do it. For compensation and benefit, go and study balance sheets, salary sheets, how the salary breakup is given, so that when your turn comes for the interview, you can tell that, sir, I'm really passionate about HR and I have studied in depth about the HR topics in my MBA program. However, out of my own interest, my own initiative, I have also studied this. There are people like Hayes, Mercer. There are people like there are so many HR analytics companies. There is a concept called employee satisfaction survey, ESAT. Just as there is a customer satisfaction survey, there is something called ESAT. So find out what is about employee satisfaction. Maybe it is not part of coursework, but sir, I have studied the Mercer's model of employee satisfaction. I have done specialization. I have engaged with somebody and developed interest in employee retention. So try to engage with people who have been there, done that, to know what beyond the curriculum that I need to know, and then figure out, like I said, I gave you 4 directions in HR: hiring, learning and development, compensation, benefits, industry relations. Which amongst these you can relate to? And again, like I said, I was telling somebody, I think Gayatri before, that see where it dissects. So if you say I want to do HR and I want to do HR in IT industry, so then consult that IT industry has so many desk jobs. So how do I keep motivated? How do I keep the morale up? How do I keep them engaged? How do I make them rotate their jobs? So find challenges for HR in IT, so that when the interview turn comes, say that, I am my own, I did this work on employee morale or motivation in IT companies, and then tell them findings. That would give you an edge. I hope that answers, Richa.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Yeah. Rohit.
Vinil, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
First of all, thank you so much, sir, for the informative session. Really, you made my day.
Wonderful. I'm happy.
Thank you, sir. So my question is that what advice do you have for someone who is new to the industry?
Wonderful. That's Minal or who is it?
Minal, sir.
Minal. Okay. So Minal,
Yes.
advice that I have for someone new in the industry is was all there on the slides. My advice is show great attitude, be a great team player, work hard but work smart, study,
Yes, sir.
read some newspapers, business newspapers, develop vision, interact with seniors and industry colleagues, go and do project works. This is all applicable for fresher. So I hope you are paying enough attention when I was telling that. This is all applicable for fresher and even people who are experienced, but more so for the fresher. Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir.
yeah. Mhm.
Saurav, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Am I audible?
Yeah, a little bit louder. Identify yourself.
Uh, my name is Saurabh Moite.
Yeah,
Yeah, am I perfectly audible now?
not quite, but go on. I can barely hear you.
Okay. So recently, our government decided to launch the flex-based engine scheme, wherein they are trying to power up our normal engines with the ethanol production as well. So they are giving out incentives and coming up with new schemes so that our ethanol producing companies could start gearing up for the huge production which is lies in front of them. So how is Praj looking forward with this ethanol production and flex-based engines coming up from the government?
So I did not catch your first name.
Saurabh Moite, sir.
Saurabh, that's a great question, and I'm very tempted to answer. But look, I'm not here as a company spokesperson. This is like a, MBA interaction. So I'll not talk about company, but I will touch on the concepts that you mentioned. Flex fuel, in other words, flexible fuel engine is a internal combustion engine which adjusts its combustion ratio to different blend ratios of ethanol and petrol. That will be a revolutionary thing for the Indian market because today petrol prices are about above 100 and ethanol, if you increase the percentage, we'll be able to control some fuel costs. That's the line of thinking. And flex fuel engines are very common in Brazil and USA. So once the manufacturers or the original equipment makers bring in flex fuel, then ethanol blending will help actually benefit the consumers directly. Is all I can say. Probably there will be a long answer to your question, but that too some other time at another forum.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Priya, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Priya.
Good morning, sir. So thank you so much for this session. This was a session that that cleared so many of my doubts related to my career. First of all, and one thing is that I am interested in finance a lot, but I am not sure that which specialization should I take with finance that will widen my scope in today's globalized world. So can you please advise me with that?
So first of all, you should thank Shruti ma'am. She is the one who said that I must come and speak. And just like you, I'm also thanking her for the opportunity because I also find the student engagements very exciting. That's the tonic for which I keep doing all this. So thank you very much, all of you. Now you see the solution or answer to which specialization in finance I should do is not going to pop up from the top. You'll have to work for it. How will you work for it? So if you want to go the finance route, again, the same formula. Try to figure out, do I like audit, bookkeeping, accounts? Do I like to be auditor? Do I like to go as an equity analyst? There are numerous functions that open up in finance. So I would recommend that you start doing 3-4 things. If you love finance, then you start focusing on finance sector in the first place, right? We talked about two streams all the time, functional expertise and sectorial expertise. Start following finance companies like Bajaj Finance as an example, banking companies like State Bank, which is a government bank, and HDFC Bank, which is a private bank, insurance companies like HDFC Insurance as an example, or Reliance Insurance. So try to find out one or two companies in BFSI sector, banking, financial services, mutual fund industry, equity analyst, stockbroker, and try to follow them. What are they doing? How are they doing what they are doing? How their results are coming, profitability, growth, what kind of people do they hire? How will you know all this? For public limited companies, there is an annual report, analyst call, and press releases. All this data is available in public domain. So you start studying those, and the road for which functional expertise will automatically emerge. Because if I tell you it's my passion, my decision, and I don't want to take decision for you, neither should your teachers take it, nor should your parents take it. You have to be one to take it. But the way to do it is, it's a chicken or egg. So if you can't decide this route, decide this route. If you decide and study this route for a month, 2 months, automatically the doors will start opening and you will narrow down like a funnel to what you would like to do. I hope that gives you some clue.
Yes, sir. But sir, my question, thank you for this. But my question was with finance, what should I take, like marketing or HR, or which will widen my scope in this industry?
You see, again, my answer is not very different. What's your name? Once again, I missed it.
Sir, Priya Sinha.
Priya. So Priya, my answer cannot be your answer, right? And in a company, everything is a spaghetti. Does HR anything to do? Does HR have anything to do with finance? Absolutely. Because all the HR headcount, HR budgets are coming from finance. Does operations have anything to do with finance? Absolutely, because operational procurement budgets are decided by finance. Marketing, sales, by all means, because sales, revenue, they are the people who bring in orders. Operations are the people who bring in money. HR are the people who bring in people who help convert all this. So all this is like a spaghetti. So telling you what I think you should do without knowing you in depth, and even if I know you in depth, that wouldn't be a fair thing to do. Our job, like any mentor's job, is to tell you what are the options available. It is your job to go and explore those options and find what you like, and then come back and say that this is what I am doing and I am enjoying. Is it the right thing to do? We will again not give you answer between yes or no. We will say that, okay, this is what you're doing. Do this also, do that also, and find out. So that is how you do a process of elimination and come to your exact liking.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
One of the things you as MBA managers need to learn, if nothing else, is decision making. As our Indian culture, we depend so much on our parents and our teachers to decide for us. MBA is your last formal opportunity to make your own decisions and prove them right, or even if the decision is wrong, be smart enough to course correct and get to the right decision, because that's only iterative process. So don't let someone else decide for you. Find answer yourself. It doesn't matter if it goes wrong to start with. Change, but decide for yourself. Okay.
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks.
Ankit, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes. Ankit here, sir, again.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So you mentioned about VUCA environment. So what you'd be suggesting of to have a strategy to survive in this VUCA environment?
It's a good question, and it's not a good question. Because it's a good question because I'm happy that you caught the word VUCA and then you want to do something about it. That's a good part of the question. Not good part of the question is you want a ready-made recipe to be served on table. That will not happen, because if that happens
Sir, I guess there is some connectivity issue at your end. Sir. I guess there is some connectivity issue. Sir will be joining again.
Meanwhile, may I say something?
Yes, please, sir.
Yeah, Priya was asking a question. Priya. So thanks that you asked this question. But actually, this is not a platform you should be asking immediately at the first day of your induction. But yes, you took this step and you asked. But what sir said is 200% true. So I would second what he said is that his choice cannot be your choice. I would like to add more what he said. Priya, you are going to spend one entire year at IMDR,
Yeah,
and you are
sorry.
going to 6 month industry internship. Now, what sir was telling is that whatever he will say, you should not select as your career option. You should select your career option that what you like. So how you will come to know, because you are going to spend 1 year on campus, then you will understand what are the interest area for you, what attracts you, where do you suit better. You will go for an industry internship for 6 months. There you will understand sometime something which attracts you but may not where you can fit. For example, I think finance मुझे बहुत attract करता है, लेकिन जब मैं actually वो करने जाऊंगा तो मुझे पता नहीं यार ये interest area नहीं है, attract कर रहा है मुझे लेकिन मुझे उसमें interest नहीं है. So that's how you will understand when you spend 1 year. So only one line, because sir is back, go with the flow. Everything will fall on the right time, on the right direction. Okay, ask question, get it clear, don't worry about it. IMDR is there with you not
Yes,
only
sir.
for this 2 years, it is there with you for lifetime. Yes, I think sir is back. Over
Yes,
to
sir.
you, sir.
Wonderful. I mean, you made my
Thank you,
life
sir.
easy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So,
No,
sir,
you are
we would like
absolutely.
to take only last question
Yes,
from
sure.
Pragya.
So just to close the earlier question, my answer to you was the same as I told your colleague. This is not mathematics or formula. मैं क्या करूँ VUCA है तो. I mean, there is nothing that is right or wrong. You got to figure out your own ways. What are others doing? Are they succeeding? Learn from their successes, learn from their failures, stitch your own clothes, because what can work for me may not work for you. And I think just a minute back, I think the professor was telling you that it may attract me, but it may not keep my interest level sustainable to pursue that career. So attract करना और sustain करना इसमें फर्क है. But at the same time, remember, interest cannot be fluctuating because it's not going to be very glamorous. It's a long 30-40 years of career we are talking. So persisting is also key. Yeah. Okay. Last question, ma'am. Whatever.
Pragya, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to thank you for this session. So my question was regarding the current scenario wherein online learning and a lot of courses have come in. So I want to know from the corporate perspective, how do they look at hiring? Do they look at skills more or the degrees more? Like, of course, there is a minimum qualification required, but what gives more weight?
So there is nothing like more or less. We look at the package, right? Just because someone has more degrees, we'll hire that person. Or just because someone doesn't have those degrees, we'll not hire that person. Doesn't make sense. How you have the conviction, how you have the competency to the extent that you have studied and knowledge. See, remember, after MBA, you all want to be managers. That doesn't happen overnight, because manager is actually doing. This is knowledge and that is application. We are all gathering knowledge, which is so fundamental, but application of knowledge is something else. All of us use two-wheeler or cars, and when our tire goes flat, we all go to that puncture fellow and ask him to do it. If he says, okay, you do it, will you be able to do it? We won't, because practice is something else, application is something else. So what I'm trying to make you understand, that you are not gathering those degrees to get a job. You are gathering the qualification and degrees to gain knowledge that with conviction you will be able to talk about. If you can't do that, then all having so many of them are useless, because interviewer may not have long time to keep evaluating you. He will have limited time window in which your qualifications will give you a lead, perhaps extra qualification, but not necessarily sustaining that lead, because someone who is not having that qualification but has worked in the field can talk with conviction that I may not have studied this, but as a part of my field work, internship, project work, I have done this and these are my findings. Then you will say that I had all these degrees and how am I not getting it, and she doesn't have it but she's got it. So it is not this or that, it is this and that. I hope that answers your question. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Now we are going to conclude this session.
Okay.
Yes, Ankita.
Thank you. So we see no more questions. Now I request my colleague Diganto to present vote of thanks. Diganto, over to you.
Thank you, Ankita. So firstly, it's an honor to present the vote of thanks in this occasion. I, Diganto Chakraborty, on behalf of Deccan Education Society, IMDR, would like to convey our sincere gratitude to Dr. Ravindra Utgikar for giving us time and enlightening us on the topic regarding the expectations of the corporate from management graduates. In your speech, you thoroughly analyzed and deduced the business environment, talking about the VUCA model comprising volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. You also threw some light on the micro and macroeconomics of the business canvas and mentioned about the requirements of partnerships in businesses, since technological disruptions are a new normal. Simultaneously, you mentioned about some series of concepts like the customer concept, where maintaining stakeholder expectations is vital for success, the value chain concept, wherein how the organization creates, delivers, and captures a series of value generating activities to develop competitive advantage in businesses. You talked about value creation, like how businesses must target a niche market environment and hit the sweet spot for better market opportunities. Then you mentioned the innovation concept, comprising innovations through incremental production, whereby small improvements within a product is made for betterment of the business altogether, or game changer disruptions, which are transformational in nature, wherein a business alters its strategy and conceives a whole new plan. Lastly, you suggested some key success formulas, which are prerequisites for management graduates. You highlighted the correlation and interdependency of hard work with smart work, the need for mastering communication skills, and developing a leadership attitude focusing on teamwork. These pieces of information are really helpful and valuable for us considering our future corporate endeavor. So thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Now, I would also like to thank our director, ma'am, the faculty, the non-teaching staff for constantly supporting and encouraging us with respect of such corporate connect. I thank the entire student organizing team, the technical support, and last but not the least, all my student colleagues, without whom this session wouldn't have been successful. Thank you so much.